Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. We are going to be catching up on the two death battles that I had not yet watched when we checked out Leonardo vs Jason. And whilst I may or may not still have the music from that particular death battle, which for some reason I cannot seem to find anywhere, because apparently it's not released, which is a bit weird, we will try our best to concentrate on this death battle, which is between Miles Morales and Static Shock. Now, I'm not gonna lie, just like when I heard that the next battle was gonna be Leo versus Jason, my immediate pick for this fight is Static. And I obviously haven't heard any of the discussions because everybody keeps saying that they want to see the analysis section. So I'm gonna leave it in, I'm gonna watch it whilst recording, but I'm not gonna promise that you're gonna hear a great deal from me. So, yeah. If you don't think it's worth me keeping in, because I don't think it is, for the next one, feel free to let me know in the comments section. But, with that said, I don't honestly see how Miles wins this. Oh yeah, he's got like really weak electric powers, and he can turn invisible, which is maybe his only saving grace. But Static from memory is very, very powerful once he gets rolling. I mean, yeah, in his early days, he's maybe not up there with the best of them, but depending on what they're going to include, what exactly they're going to be judging Static by, Static, in my opinion, shouldn't lose this fight. I mean, he's got maneuverability and powers that Spider-Man, regardless of version, is going to really struggle against. I mean, even if it was Peter Parker with all of his years of experience and his ridiculous levels of feats that he's done, Static at the end of the day can just sit on his little silver disc out of range of anything that the Miles Morales Spider-Man can do and just electrocute him. Now, obviously, Spider-Man, all versions have gone up against flying enemies, so it's not unprecedented for them to defeat enemies that they should technically lose against, but those enemies are villains. Losing is in their job description. So, I don't know. I'm gonna obviously wait and see what they have to say, what they're going to include, and then I shall actually say who I think is going to win at the end, but my gut instinct is that Static has this one in the bag. Right, let's get into it.
Throughout the Earths of Marvel and DC Comics, there are hundreds, no thousands of superheroes saving the day. But what if I told you there were even more across the multiverse?
Oh great, as if we don't have enough to keep track of already.
Miles Morales, the Spider-Man of Marvel's Earth number 1610.
And Static, the electric genius from DC's Dakotaverse. He's Wiz and I'm Boomstick.
And it's our job to analyze their weapons, armor, and skills to find out who would win a death battle. At first glance, the world of Earth 1610 isn't so different from our own.
I think it's safe to say what they're going to be taking a lot of inspiration from.
Instead of Coca-Cola, PDNY officers instead of NYPD.
And a hamburger and fries can cost $30,000 goddamn dollars.
But perhaps the greatest difference in this so-called
Okay.
Ultimate Universe was that Peter Parker, the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, was dead.
Enter Miles Morales. He was your typical kid from Brooklyn and didn't have much to worry about except his overbearing mom and dad. Hey kid, appreciate your folks while you have them. You never know when they're gonna pull a surprise Uncle Ben.
Well, Miles spent most of his time with his more laid-back
I was gonna say,
Eric,
his uncle
who
wasn't much
turned
better.
out to be a secret supercriminal.
Totally relatable. Anyway, during one of his heists into a secret lab, Aaron accidentally scooped up a spider. The next time Miles visited, the spider got loose and, you know what happens.
Miles, let's go.
This spider carried the genetic enhancing Oz formula, yet another attempt to recreate Captain America's infamous super soldier serum. It had previously transformed Peter Parker into the first Spider-Man.
Wait a minute, who came up with the idea to store the super serum in a friggin' spider?
Scientists can be weird sometimes.
Maybe next time put it in something that can't walk away. It's got 8 legs.
Yeah, like a
and
test
4
tube or
times
something.
more walking power.
Sure. Either way, with his new powers, Miles donned red and black to become the ultimate Spider-Man.
As the newest spider lad on the block, he does whatever a spider can. He's super strong, super fast, and has the overpowered super radar, the Spider Sense.
After meeting Peter's Aunt May, Miles took up the classic web shooters, complete with multiple types of long to short range webbing.
Yet another tool that would be perfect for snagging a beer from the fridge without leaving the couch.
Boomstick, he was a teenager.
Different universe, different drinking laws, right? And also, like Peter, he can stick to walls.
To be fair,
You know,
it's different in different
spider
countries,
style.
so...
Yes, like some spiders, Miles can control his body's interatomic attraction, essentially sticking to walls like a magnet. However, unlike Peter, this subatomic electron manipulation gave Miles a few extra moves of his own.
Yeah, the kid's got electric powers. He can zap people with a quick touch, fire off massive explosions, and even turn invisible. Wait, what's that got to do with shocking people?
This venom sting can even take out the Ultimate Universe's electric.
I like the way they didn't even try
of
to
electricity.
answer
But
that
Miles
one,
didn't
because
just
I've
shock
wondered
him,
that as
he
well.
disrupted Electro's own charge. Similar to a miswiring sending
Oh,
too much
okay.
electricity in one direction
So,
and shorting
I
out
didn't
the
know he could
computer
take out
when
Electro.
Somebody forgot to plug it into the surge
That,
protector.
that's kind of
You know
instantly
I don't
making me
believe in
doubt
protection for
that
anything.
I
It's
was
going in
right
raw.
about Static winning this.
Anyway, as the new Spider-Man, Miles obviously had a lot to live up to. After his Uncle Aaron died in front of him,
Ha! Told you somebody would pull a Ben.
Miles pushed past the heartache. He persisted, living up to Peter's ideals, and eventually stepped out of his shadow to be Spider-Man in a way only he could.
I hope we get
Oh,
to see
yeah.
that
What's
suit
up,
in the
Major?
Into the
He can blast
Spider-Verse
apart a
sequel.
building-sized monster and survive
The one
being
we got in the
slapped
first
around
film was
by
good,
a
but I hope we
giant
get the
fancy leg.
traditional
That's
comic book
Sandman's
one,
daughter.
you know?
He's smart enough to hack military drones and quick enough to destroy an alien device in a microsecond. Essentially, he needed to open and close a portal in an impossibly short time frame to prevent an alien force from invading.
He could be
It's a
compared to
long story.
Miguel O'Hara.
Point is, he's
How?
super fast. With his spider sense, he can react to things before they even happen. He's super
Okay.
tough, too. He even survived being caught in this giant super collider exploding.
Measuring the size of this hole using real-world maps of New York and solving for fragmentation, we know this explosion must have been equivalent to about 222 tons of TNT.
Sure, that's not technically canon to the comics, but guys, main series Spider-Man has done way crazier things. I mean, he has the same powers, and Miles has even beat the crap out of him. Classic Pete can bench press 130 tons, use his spider sense to dodge beams of light, and ripped apart Doc Ock's robo-arms, which once survived a 2-kiloton nuclear explosion. So I'd say the Super Collider feat checks out.
Unfortunately, Miles' electric powers can tire him out, and his spider sense does not protect him automatically, serving more as an alarm or proximity sensor.
But the youngins proved himself to be the best successor a Spider-Man could ever want, and more. He even got pulled into the main Marvel timeline when they blew up the Ultimate Universe. Miles
For
Morales
reasons.
is truly one of the greats.
Don't wash the mouth. Wash the hands.
Okay. Now let's see what
Despite
Static's
growing
got.
up in the most crime-filled neighborhood of Dakota
I
City,
used to love that show.
Virgil Hawkins was a pretty chill guy.
He spent his time playing D&D, reading comics, you know, typical nerd stuff.
Kilowatt
But he had
Kid.
one major problem.
I haven't heard that
Classic
name in a long ass
so-called
time.
bully. No teenage story is complete without it.
During school, he was frequently harassed by local gang leader Francis Stone. Virgil's only refuge was one of his few friends, Larry Wade.
Larry convinced Virgil there was only one way to get rid of Francis for good. Join his own gang and pack some heat. Things got, well, pretty intense, and Virgil wasn't having any of it. It was time to bail like DC Comics on their cinematic universe.
But the damage was already done. The police arrived and let loose a massive canister of what seemed to be tear gas.
Just think, that was all in a
But was it?
comic,
Yeah,
in a
this
cartoon
brainless
aimed at
mist was
kids.
actually some
It didn't exactly pull its
experimental shit.
punches.
It was supposed
Like
to
most of
tag
the animated
gang
universe
members so
for
the cops
DC.
could track them down later, but it was actually laced with radioactive quantum juice, which killed almost everybody. I hate it when that happens.
Yeah,
Luckily, Virgil
me too.
was one of the few who survived, but the quantum juice still had an effect.
You
That's
could
a
say
horrible
he was
name.
shocked to find out what it did.
Yes, he began to develop electromagnetic powers. Before this, Virgil always felt out of his league, but now he was in a league of his own and became the superhero Static.
Oh my lord. Nostalgia!
Hell yeah! With these new powers, the guy was unstoppable. He could blow shit up with electric bolts quick as lightning, make explosion balls called Nova Bombs.
Oh, I'd forgotten about that creepy
bullet punches
dude.
to the face.
Right, but he's not
Still,
just
this is
good
just
at
making me
shocking
want to
people.
rewatch the
Static
show.
can alter the electron attraction of any object or surface. He can erect extremely durable electromagnetic force fields that block most attacks. He can even move metal around like a hip young Magneto.
And slip metal under his feet to take to the sky. His
Okay,
favorite ride is
see,
the Static
I'm
Saucer,
beginning to
a
feel
giant
more
frisbee
secure in
that
my
doubles
decision
as
that
a
Static
shield
was
and
going to win this
buzzsaw.
now.
Think about it. Don't you wish your car could literally cut through traffic?
Obviously, turning superhuman overnight caught Virgil a bit off guard, but after a few speed bumps, he became a well-regarded superhero throughout the city of Dakota, even teaming up with fellow heroes like Icon and Rocket.
Icon and Rocket? Come on, where's Batman and Wonder Woman?
Oh, I should mention that while Static is part of the DC universe, he did not start there. See, Static was originally created by Milestone Comics, which eventually merged with DC. Their characters, including Static, existed in an alternate timeline known as the Dakotaverse. Then a guy named Dharma gained cosmic power and accidentally blew everything up, sending Static into the main DC timeline. It's really not too complicated. I've actually been working on a device to peer into alternate timelines, but unfortunately it still needs...
Button! Well now, old chap, what were we discussing but a moment ago?
Oh, shite, don't you know? Let's figure out who wins a fatality kerfuffle.
What?
Oh, yes, I'm at his house.
What accent are you trying to do?
I regret everything.
Oh, I'll do it again!
No! I'm sure that's fine.
Well, no matter the universe, Static was always one-upping himself. He learned how to see ultraviolet light and how to make people glow. Wait, what's that got to do with shocking people?
That would be his ability to detect bioelectric auras. Static can also create power-draining plasma
Yeah,
coils.
see, I had a vague memory he could do that, and that would nullify Miles' invisibility, wouldn't it?
He can literally reattach his severed arm with shock power. I'm not even joking. Look at this. Since when could electricity do that?
Clearly, Static has a lot of power at his beck and call.
He can survive building-sized kabooms, lift hundreds of tons, and once turned this huge chunk of ice into slush in just a couple seconds.
Based on the size of the ice and the required change in temperature for such a feat, Static must have output energy equal to 180 tons of TNT.
He's quick enough to intercept lasers confirmed to be beams of actual light, which is pretty darn fast.
And in the cartoon, he actually shoved some quantum juice in some lockers and launched them out of orbit. These are typical school lockers, which can weigh up to 30 pounds each.
And fit approximately one nerd.
To throw 3 of these into space, they need to be moving nearly 3,000 times faster than sound, requiring a throwing force equal to 4 kilotons of TNT.
Damn! Okay, sure, that's not canon to the comics, but his electromagnetism could play tug-of-war with Superboy's telekinesis, which can lift 4 million tons. I'm not sure Static can go that far, but if he's anywhere close, it's still higher than throwing some lockers around.
Though, despite Static's incredible power, insulators are his kryptonite, and he can run out of juice if he pushes himself too much.
But the guy's one of the coolest superheroes who rarely got his time to shine. Heck, he was good enough to join the Justice League. I think even Virgil himself was shocked to see how cool he really was.
Yeah, exactly. If it was that version of Static Shock, it would be a moot point.
Alright, the
but
combatants are set, and we've run the data through all possibilities.
But first, all this talking has made me hungry for Blue Apron.
I'll be honest, I'm still leaning towards Static Shock, but they're pretty evenly matched, but it seemed to me like when they were rattling off the feats that Static has accomplished and the feats that Miles has accomplished, although Miles has some impressive ones, Static has that, shall we say, insanity that DC likes to give some of its characters. Like they said, I'll just, I've lost my arm, let me reattach it using electricity. So, yeah. He seems to have more power and durability on his side, but I don't know. Hitting Miles is still going to be tricky, even with his abilities. Like I said, being able to sense aura will nullify Miles' invisibility, but Miles' spider sense, one of the biggest game changers in my opinion for all the spider characters, that's going to make actually hitting him a real pain in the ass for Static, but Static's got quite a lot of things he can do to outmaneuver and outpace Miles, so I might be wrong, but I think I'm going to stick with my original pick, and that was Static, so let's see what the actual outcome is, shall we? Hang on a minute. I know this city.
Whoa! Watch where you're aiming. I got places to be tomorrow. For real? You attack me! Well, I got more than one electric psychopath to keep track of it.
Oh, we didn't get to see him mistake Static for somebody else then. Oh! Okay. That's kind of clever. I like what the reference they're making there. Okay, the music is it's pretty good. It sounds obviously very similar to the Spider-Verse soundtrack. He definitely does remind me of Magneto, which is not... Look out. Oh! Ah, it was the disc. I was like, what was that? Yeah, in raw strength, Miles definitely wins, but Static... He stopped him from being able to stick. I love it. Oh. Really? I mean, it shouldn't actually matter. He could put it back together.
You've got surprises, but so do
I. Whoa. Okay. Little singularity for him. Oh, but he's got that explosion, yeah. Oh, he just cut his arm off, didn't he? Of course he did. Let me just reattach that quickly. Yeah. Yeah, I really don't see how you can be able to actually put him down. That's the most, explosions. Uh-huh.
If you hadn't noticed, this electric biz is kind of my thing. Oh, man.
Okay, I think that might be game over.
That was tough.
KO!
Looks like we're kicking off this
Yeah,
year with a bang.
pretty much exactly how I thought the fight would go.
Though.
Honestly, I'm surprised how this turned out. At first glance, Miles appeared to have a good chance of victory.
He was definitely
Not really.
physically stronger than Static. He would have totally won an arm wrestling contest.
But Virgil's overwhelming electric power put him at a level above the young Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Overall,
Static is
feats
ridiculously
were way above
OP
Spidey's,
when he wants
even
to
when
be.
we scaled Miles to classic Peter Parker's biggest feats. Static definitely had the oomph to take Miles out, but Miles had no easy way to get around his force field.
The variety of techniques at Static's
I mean,
disposal
Static,
also read
not
many
Static,
Spider-Man
Miles usually
abilities.
runs out of steam with a
Like
couple
how
of
Spidey's
explosions, and yet in this he just kept going,
Static could
so...
light him up like a Christmas
I was
tree.
originally like,
And
wait,
his
how is he
speed
still
was so
going?
similar to what the
But
spider sense could
didn't make
give
any
Miles
difference.
That the super radar wasn't that big of a help. Remember, just because he knew an attack was coming, didn't always mean he could dodge it in time.
Yeah.
Well, shockingly, Static only needed to hit him once. See, his electromagnetic manipulation gave him control over Miles' wall crawling and other abilities. As soon as he got a hold of Miles' bioelectric aura, it was basically all over.
But hey, Miles and all the other Spider-Men fight Electro all the time, and they have no problem dealing with him. Why was Static any different?
Simply put, every iteration of Electro pales in comparison. He
Yep.
has no feats of power that come even close to
Electro
Static,
isn't
and
that
frankly,
strong.
He's an idiot. This was a fascinating matchup, but... Oh no, not
Yeah,
again!
he is an idiot, I'll give you that.
Mr. Morales put up a jolly good show, and yet Mr. Hawkins had him outdone in breathtaking power, stalwart defense, and veritable versatility.
Oh, he was just miles ahead of him, don't you know?
The victor is Static.
I really don't ever want to hear that accent again, whatever it is he's trying to do.
If you want the battle music for yourself, you have to click on the link down below.
Oh, we already know who's next, but we'll let it play anyway.
Check that out on store.roosterteeth.com.
Sindel versus Black Canary. So, yeah, no real surprise there. That fight pretty much went exactly how I expected it to. The only real surprise was that the fight itself was more even in inverted commas, whereas as they said, in reality, Static doesn't even have to break a sweat to just swat that particular spider out of his way, or indeed perhaps any of the spiders, which is kind of what I said at the beginning, even though, you know, Peter Parker has gone up against, as has Morales, enemies that on paper they should lose against, but I really couldn't see any way for him to combat Static's powers. And that was without factoring in the fact that he could nullify Spider-Man's powers, something that the second they said, I realised of course he could, but I hadn't actually thought of that. So when you factor that in with everything else, it's like, yeah, this is kind of a no-brainer. They're just a terrible, terrible matchup. Either way, it's still an enjoyable battle, and as comical as it was to see the same background that we saw in Leo versus Jason, obviously it was in this one first, and I think it was in another one previously. So I'm glad to see that they're getting their money's worth for their 3D backgrounds, but even so, that was quite a good fight. It wasn't the same that we've had before. There was a lot of movement to it, when we stayed pretty much away from being on the ground, considering both of these characters are highly maneuverable. Voice actors, I thought, did another great job. I wasn't so sold on the guy voicing Miles. It was okay, but I really liked the guy that was voicing Static. To me, he just got it dead on. Either way, hope you guys enjoyed this one. I certainly did, and I'll be back very, very soon to do Sindel and Black Canary. I don't know who won that fight, just in case anybody was wondering. I heard some people complain about it because I saw a video titled "Is it fixed?" but thankfully the thumbnail didn't give away who won. So I'm looking forward to checking that out, and I'll see you guys then. But until such time, this is HIIROOx signing out, and I'll see you all later.